Experiencing the World of Tomorrow at the 1904 World's Fair. Now let's experience the St. Louis World's Fair through the words of those who were there. Jim, 7. Everything was so cool. There was an enormous wheel, and you could ride around and around. You could fit 60 people in one carriage. I heard people had dinner parties in them. I also had a waffle cone with ice cream. It was yummy. Elizabeth, 25. There were so many incredible things to see. The truth is that I saw so much, I can't remember most of it. But there was something called an X-ray machine. It lets you see inside people. Joe, 49. The Palace of Transportation took my breath away. There were all kinds of cars in there. Some of them even used steam. I bet everyone will be driving one of those things before long. Ruth, 30. There were so many foods I'd never seen before, like hamburgers and iced tea. I heard some of them were only invented in the last few years. There were dishes from other countries as well, and I even tried a few. Who knows what wonders will appear at the next World Expo?
Hi everyone, and welcome back to English for You. I'm Pat.
I'm Trickling.
And today we're going to find out more about what was on show at the 1904 World's Fair. So the article says, now let's experience the St. Louis World's Fair through the words of those who were there. So we're going to get little quotes from people who may or may not have visited this place.
Okay.
And see what they think of it. So first we have some words from Jim, 7. So that means his name is Jim and he's a 7-year-old kid.
Okay.
So he's obviously going to talk about what impressed him. Everything was so cool.
Well, it sounds like something
That's what you would say when you're 7, yeah. There was an enormous wheel and you could ride around and around. So we saw the word massive yesterday, talking about a massive palace. Enormous has got a pretty similar meaning. It's just really big. Something that's enormous isn't just big, it's super big. We would say blue whales are enormous animals. You know, they have heads the size of buses and stuff like that.
So is enormous bigger than massive? Kind of?
I think they're about the same. I'm not sure if there's a scale to say which one is bigger.
Okay. So enormous 就是巨大的，跟昨天我们讲到的 massive 其实蛮像的。比如说大房子，我们昨天说 massive house， 我们也可以说 enormous house， 或者是大车 enormous car 或 enormous salary. I like that. 很多钱 a lot of money. 所以比如说呢 he has enormous charm and a great sense of humor, just like Pat.
Yeah, I was going to say, my ears are burning. So this kid was excited that you could get on a great big wheel and go around and around. That phrase, around and around, means in circles, but many times. So think of any kind of fairground ride. He's talking about a Ferris wheel, a big wheel, like there is one over at the Taipei Children's Amusement Park. And you get on it and you go around. I think in that one you only go around once, but others you go around several times. So around and around.
所以这个7岁的 Jim 很可爱，他就说哇，有一个很大轮子，一直转，一直转，一直转，可以搭在上面 around and around 就是转圈。
He also says you could fit 60 people in one carriage.
That's a lot.
He's they were great bit. It reminds me of, I took a cable car up a mountain in Canada once, and it was a really giant cable car, not like 2 or 3 people. It was big. But a carriage is, now if you think of a train or an MRT, it's any of the separate parts of a train in which the passengers sit. Like the HSR always has 12 carriages, I think, and then trains would have a different number. MRTs have 3, 4, 5, however many it is. Carriage, in this case, it's just an enclosed area. It's going to have windows on this Ferris wheel. It's going to have kind of like little boxes that go around. So imagine like a train carriage, but just going around a big wheel. So we could also say, the MRT carriage was so full that I moved down the platform to the next one.
所以 carriage 就是车厢，所以火车的车厢就是 railway carriage。比如说 the railway carriage became so hot that air misted the windows。另外我们看到这个 fit 就是容纳，这边当容纳的意思哦。所以那个小孩就说，而且一个车厢可以放60个人耶。
This little 7-year-old also gets so excited. He says, I heard people had dinner parties in them. And why not? Yeah, there's a place in London, the London Eye, this other big wheel, and you can have like parties in that. You can have champagne and go up on a special ride and look out over the city. This kid also has another experience he wants to talk about. I also had a waffle cone with ice cream. It was yummy.
Waffle 就是格子松饼哦，所以这个 waffle cone 大家可以想一下，就是松饼的甜筒。所以像 my favorite waffle fries, I'm a kid too, I'm 7, 格子薯条。
Yeah, now of course for us a waffle ice cream cone is like pretty normal. You get them at 7-Eleven, but back then they were new, and so kid was very impressed. So let's move on to somebody who has a few different ideas about what was good. This is Elizabeth, 25. She says there were so many incredible things to see.
这边的 incredible 代表非常好的，很出色的，好惊讶哦 ，so surprising, something so awesome, amazing。所以你也可以说，哇，那个表演太棒了吧 ，an incredible show， 常常这样讲。
What she does say is, the truth is that I saw so much, I can't remember most of it. Now that sentence contains today's language in focus, so let's learn more about it.
所以呢，我们今天 language in focus 讲到的呢是 the truth is 或者是 the belief is or the fact is, the problem is 后面再加 that 怎么样？所以这个句型是在干嘛的呢？我们都是用来说明某一个想法、事实的详细内容。那我们 that 后面引导的名词子句就会接在 be 动词后面做成前方名词的主词补语。这个时候呢，我们的 that 作为连接词是可以省略的。所以比如说呢 she didn't answer my letter. The fact is that she didn't even read it. 这个 that 其实可以省略哦，你也可以直接说 the fact is she didn't even read it. 或者是说 the problem is that he doesn't even know he's wrong. 他根本就不知道他自己错了嘛。所以 the problem is he doesn't even know he's wrong.
So Elizabeth saw so much stuff, she just can't remember a lot of it because there were so many new things around every corner. It does seem she remembers something though. She says, but there was something called an X-ray machine. Okay, again, for us... It
must have been so cool. It's normal, but for them, it must have been so cool.
Exactly, because she points out it lets you see inside people. So, you know, back then, that's new technology. Yeah. That's cutting-edge stuff. For us, it's fairly standard. We all know what those are. So now we go to Joe, 49. What does he think? He says... The Palace of Transportation took my breath away.
Transportation 就是运输、运送的意思。所以像我们台湾的大众运输，或者是什么 Subway 啦、MRT 啊、HSR 这类的，都叫做 public transportation.
Now, we had all these palaces yesterday, the Palace of Machinery. So the Palace of Transportation is all about cars and different new trains and stuff like that. And it took Joe's breath away. If something takes your breath away, it amazes you. It's like it kind of jumps down your throat, steals your breath. You're like, whoa.
所以呢，如果take someone's breath away 就是印象深刻，让你觉得哇，怎么这么厉害啊，或让你目瞪口呆。其实我们就可以延伸出它的形容词 breathtaking， 美得很惊人的。比如说 The view from my bedroom window was absolutely breathtaking.
And he adds, there were all kinds of cars in there. So obviously cars were pretty new. So wow, what an impressive thing for him. And he adds, some of them even used steam.
Okay.
So yeah, okay, steam engines, steam cars, sounds about right. Because steam, of course, is water in its gas form after you've boiled it. And if you boil water to make gas, it does create some pressure, and that pressure can push a car along. That's the kind of thing. And in the old days, many trains use steam to power their engines. There's an example sentence.
所以这个 steam 啊，这边是名词蒸汽啊，水蒸气的意思。那我们有一个片语，我们常常都会说 to let off steam or to blow off steam， 就是去发泄怒气或释放你的精力，宣泄你的感情，都可以这个就是当成这个意思。 比如说 recess is a good chance for kids to blow off steam.
So then Joe makes what turns out to be a pretty accurate prediction. I bet everyone will be driving one of those things before long.
I like how you always try to sound like them.
I'm trying.
And you sound like them.
So many different voices and all for the price of one, you know.
Yeah.
So Joe says he bet this happened. If you bet something, if you were being literal, you would say he would put money to make a bet that this will happen. We're not always literal when we say this. We're just saying we're really sure that this is going to happen. You're confident that the thing you say you bet will happen is going to take place. So you might say, oh, Terry is always late. I bet he'll be late today as well.
I'm pretty sure he'll be late again. So bet 就是确信或敢肯定，它的三态都长一样哦。所以 I bet that 就是我确信啊，或我敢肯定怎么样。所以我们常英文会说 wanna bet， 就是你要不要打赌啊，或者是说口语有时候如果你下赌注在一个人身上，然后下太多了，我们就会说 to bet big on something or someone。所以比如说有些人喜欢赌博嘛，然后就会下注在一些运动员身上，你就可以说 they figure that betting big on one athlete is risky. 就是你应该要分散风险. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket.
And Joe thinks that before long, everyone will be driving a car. Before long means fairly soon. We're not giving it's like roughly yesterday. We're not giving an exact measurement or a number. We're just saying it won't be long. So now we move on to Ruth, who is 30. And she says, there were so many foods I'd never seen before.Like hamburgers and iced tea.
哇，红茶跟汉堡.
Right, and of course we go, that's very, very kind of standard, common. You go to McDonald's, get that then. But of course, back then, there wasn't a McDonald's. There wasn't any of this stuff. So for somebody, maybe hamburgers were not so new if you were up in one part of the country, up in maybe the New England area or Pennsylvania, where there's more German immigrants who brought this kind of food in.But if you're local, you go, wow, the idea, a big piece of meat between two buns with extra stuff. Genius. Tea with ice. What a world we live in. You know, what a refreshing drink on a hot day.
Yeah.
And she says, I heard some of them were only invented in the last few years.To invent means to create something new. It didn't exist, and someone goes, I've got an idea, and then they build it, they test it, they try it out, and they have this new product. Most of the stuff we use today was invented by someone somewhere. Here's an example. A special radio for drive-through restaurants was invented in the 1940s.
所以 invent 就是有发明的意思嘛，那它是动词。名词呢就是 invention， 比如说电话，我们电话的发明创造 the invention of the phone， 或者是发明这个东西的人 inventor， 发明家，所以 inventive 就是它的形容词，代表很有新意的。比如说 your idea seems inventive, but I doubt its practicality。所以你的那个主意感觉很厉害很新奇，但是我就觉得好像不太实用哦。所以就是有人看到这个 Ruth 啊，她30岁的这个 Ruth， 她看到新奇的食物，哇，汉堡冰红茶也是不久前才发明的。I would be very surprised too, like if I've never seen hamburgers or iced tea before.
She also says there were dishes from other countries as well, and I even tried a few.So again, this seems fairly normal to us. We can go out onto the street and there'll be, okay, there's a Japanese restaurant, there's a local restaurant, there's an Italian place over there, there's Korean food over there. But again, think about what it was like back in 1904. People didn't travel abroad. There weren't planes to fly people off to different countries for a vacation. So to have food from different countries turning up, you're like, wow, what is this stuff? And people might be a bit nervous about trying it. Like, what is this food? What does it taste like? So, Ruth here was being quite brave to try some new foods. So the article then says, who knows what wonders will appear at the next World Expo? Here we're using wonder as a noun to mean something amazing, something that makes you go, whoa, that's really cool. That's really interesting.I never imagined we would have this kind of thing in our lives. So, for example, we could say, the TV show let people see all the wonders of the world at the bottom of the ocean.
所以 wonder 在这边就是指奇观奇迹的意思，当然当动词它意思其实蛮多的啦，当动词就是想知道，比如说 The cat's been acting really strange. I wonder if it's sick. 我就想知道它是不是生病啦。那我们 wonder 这边当名词嘛，所以有一个片语叫 to work wonders or to do wonders， 就是产生奇妙的作用哦。比如说呢 foot massages and back rubs can do wonders for relaxing people and alleviating stress. 就是呢脚的按摩啊，然后按摩背部啊，真的会帮我们减轻压力。
Okay. Are you just telling me what you want to happen like after the finished recording?
Yeah.
Go and rub my back. Okay, so the article then goes to today's For You Chat question, which is...
What kinds of technology do you think we'll see in the next few World Expos?
That's a good question because I guess with these World Expos, you never know exactly what's going to turn up because it's going to be new. It's going to be stuff that you've only just maybe read some articles. Oh, someone's come up with this thing. I mean, you imagine that there might be more like probably more AI.
I was going to say that too.
Related stuff coming or like metaverse stuff, you know, like living in a virtual world. This is stuff you've seen in the news over the last year or two. So maybe like the next few developments of that, maybe some more electric vehicles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing. I mean, I remember like going back, 5-10 years, like you saw a few 3D printers around and they were like, whoa, look at this thing. This is really cool. But now like 3D printing is pretty common.
Yeah.
It's still not cheap, but it's common. So maybe smaller, cheaper, more efficient things that we've got already.
Yeah.
It's difficult at this point to come up with anything really new.
Because we're like there already.
Almost.
Yeah.
So, maybe you want to go to like a robot expo or something and then you might see some more like, the robots coming out of Japan that look more like people or can do more stuff without being told what to do, There was one that like played ping pong or conducted an orchestra. Those kind of robots, you're like, wow, that's actually being programmed to do that. That's
they actually
really
look very much like us because they're
starting to.
It's so crazy, but that they're fake, but they're so real at the same time. But like the way they move, you still know that they're robots, but so they look very much like us.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of like robots. So I think it's going to be something about AI.
Yeah, that's probably a good, AI controlling a robot. That's, that's kind of the way it's going. But who knows? I think Tokyo or somewhere in Japan has got one maybe next year or the year after. I'm not sure this year. But that brings us to the end of today's article. Thanks very much for listening, everyone. For English for You, I'm Pat.
I'm Chickling.
And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review. Enormous. Paul's house is enormous. His family and 2 other families could live there comfortably. Carriage. During our train journey, we walked through the carriage to find the dining car. Steam. Boiling water creates steam, which can power machines with its strong force. Bet. I bet that my best friend will be happy to receive this birthday gift because it's what he's always wanted. Invent. The telephone was invented in 1876 by Alexander Graham Bell. The first telephone call was made in Boston, U.S. Wonder. Taipei 101 is a wonder of a building. It's the tallest building in Taiwan.
智慧小补帖
Waffle. Incredible. Transportation.